We wanted to discuss with you road safety in Italy, things you must be aware of, and expectations that you might not have known about before. I'm again here with Susanna, and I just want to start out here talking about my experience driving in Rome and also driving on the outskirts of the city. As you know, I've been living in Castel Gandolfo, which is a beautiful place, beautiful lake, quiet, got a lot of work done, appreciate the surroundings there. And there were some caveats, right? Driving in Italy is something that I didn't think it would turn out the way it did in certain regards. Let me give you an example. I'm driving in that area, right? Castel Gandolfo. Great. Speed limit is like 30. There's like a 10 kilometers per hour tolerance, if you get caught, if there's a speed camera. So there's like a 10 kilometers per hour tolerance, meaning if you say drive 39, you're still safe. But if you drive 42, then you'd have to pay a penalty, correct? That's how it works. And basically I was going maybe like 39 to 44 in a 30 kilometers per hour speed limit. And there were people behind me driving. And I can see how they're further coming like this. This was just a perfect example of what happened to me. You obviously did not see that now because the camera's facing this way, but what just happened here is actually exactly what happened to me. Where I was going like 39 to 40 kilometers or 42 kilometers per hour in a 30 kilometer per hour speed limit, which is technically not good, right? If you do that in America and there's a cop, you're definitely going to get pulled up. You're definitely going to receive a ticket, right? And you receive a citation for speed limit violation. Now here, there's speed cameras that are placed randomly, and you've got to know where they're placed, because if you hit one, it's going to take a snapshot of your license plate, and you're going to pay a fine, assuming that the speed camera is working, which you never know, right? Sometimes it might not be working, sometimes it might be working, sometimes you might be lucky, sometimes you might be unlucky, right? Many variables involved there. So you have to know where the speed cameras are located. I think that's very important. And what's also true on the highway is that there are speed cameras, and they also measure like the distance between point A, point B. So they take a snapshot of your license plate, and if they see that it took you so and so long to get from A to B, and that's above the speed limit because they can calculate that through distance, then you also pay a fine. How true is that? And if you can weigh in here as an Italian, as a Roman, what are your thoughts?
I liked what you said about the speed camera that might not be working, because that happens a lot more frequently than you might think. So sometimes you might think you got a fine. One time I drove from Rome to the northern area, and I kind of ran into 4 speed cameras that I only saw after, and I realized I was going too fast, and I was waiting for a fine. I was with my friends, we were we're gonna get this fine, and when it arrives I will tell you guys and we'll split. It's so cool, yeah. And then it never came just because the speed camera was not working. And so I feel that's a really more common thing that happens, is that you just think you got a fine, but then it doesn't work. Sometimes they do work. So it happens that you might get a fine. That usually happens though on high speed streets on roads. It doesn't happen very much in the city. Although they're thinking of extending the 30 kilometers per hour limit inside of the city, it doesn't apply to the whole city. It applies only to certain areas. And usually because of the traffic, you respect that, limitation. You respect the 30 kilometers per hour limit just because there's so many cars around. You cannot possibly go faster than that. I'd say that I never gotten a fine in the city. People that live here know where the security cameras are located and which one are not working. If you don't know that, you will learn that, first things. And second thing, you probably will see that on Google Maps right now. I mean, sometimes I don't even know that, but I check on Google Maps and there is the little sign of some speed camera. In that case, I always follow the limit. Not all drivers, but some drivers here, they don't really respect the laws and the speed limits and all that. So I think that's something that you have to put up with. We're not in a country that is well known for their driving skills. We're not a country that strictly follows the speed limits at all time. That is something that you have to take into account if you come and drive here and you're accustomed to a country that always has a certain speed limit and everyone follows it. And you have, maybe a 100% possibility of getting a fine if you don't follow it, then I think the drivers in your country must be a lot more cautious than they are here. But because you cannot rely on a proper penalty system, you are more inclined not to follow strictly the rules. And you shouldn't do that, but that's just to put it out there that some people do it, and it might create not the best like environment to learn. But on the other hand, with time, I think you learn how to live through it, like people are gonna get rude in the street. Because there's so much traffic sometimes that people are just like rude if you're slowing them down, and then people get really crazy in traffic. But you know what? It's like, I'm so used to it now that I cannot even see the flaws in this thing, like it's okay, it's what it is. And yeah, it's never unsafe. I want to say that it's never unsafe because, like we are a city of older people. So the, young people that drive like recklessly, they are less than what, conscious people are. Although you might find people that speed up on the highway and they won't probably get a fine just because the speed cameras are not always working. In that case, you just follow the speed limit and you're gonna go safe.
And I just want to weigh in here on my personal experiences, Anna. What happened to me quite frequently, actually, it didn't just happen once, but quite frequently, is that, like I told you, I was going maybe like 39, 42. There was a car behind me, and supposedly I was going too slow for their taste. Like for my taste, given my driving history in America, if there's a speed limit of 30 and you go 40, that might be okay. But a lot of people just go 35, and that's miles per hour, right? That's not kilometers per hour. And very rarely will you have, if ever, will you have a person behind you honking at you if you drive above the speed limit.
Right.
It's almost unheard of in America. But here, like where I was driving, there's so many people that want to overtake me where you can't even overtake because the line's not broken, right? You can't see, you don't have good sight. And so a lot of people were honking, were getting impatient with me, but I'm doing the best I can. On one hand, I'm trying to satisfy the locals. I'm trying to blend in. But on the other hand, I'm also protecting myself. I don't want to hit the speed camera, right? Because if I do, then I have to pay. I get a citation, and that's no good, right? So I feel like this is a place that requires a lot of adjustment in terms of driving. Given, my past history, driving history, I've driven in many European countries. I'm sorry to say, but this is definitely one of the crazier ones. Yeah. Definitely, like in Spain, people drive also a little bit crazy, but I feel like here can be really crazy. But you can adjust, and it might just be dependent also on the city, on the area, and if you go on the highway, people are definitely not honking at you. I haven't experienced that, but if you go like on a more rural road, if you go from like one little town to another town, then you'll definitely find people that want you to go a little bit faster, right? They want you to go faster than what the speed limit is, and sometimes even a lot faster than the speed limit is. And if you come here as a foreigner and you're like, well, I don't want to break the law. So it's kind of difficult to find a middle ground there, to satisfy the locals and also to not break the law, because no matter where you come from, if you come from Canada, if you come from America or any other country, right? It's different. The way you're used to driving is different than it is here. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions about road safety or you want to share your experience, you're welcome to post your thoughts in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching, and we see you on the next video.